Today we spoke about one of the use cases, which is on pre-shipment financing or the pre-harvest financing in agriculture. Today we shall look at post-harvest financing. Let me just start my presentation here. So again, we're just trying to clear the myth whether agriculture is boring. Yesterday we looked at pre-harvest financing. A quick recap. Again, we spoke about event-based credit line access. I will skip this because we have already seen twice. So we spoke about up to 6% APY in the pre-harvest financing, where the farmer gets based on tranches with the proof that they have done the soil preparation or they have done the growth there. Today, I want to really focus on this important post-harvest financing, where it actually gets triggered and how stablecoin liquidity pools could actually help generate more APY for the stablecoin holders, liquidity pool holders. And we'll also look at how we could increase the APY from 6% to 9% to 12%. So what exactly happens when the harvest happens? For example, I'm taking a simple use case of black pepper, and this is a real one. So in January and February, we have a lot of harvest happening in Vietnam, India, northeastern part of India, and southern part of India, and also in Africa. Let's say there's abundant supply that has come in, say in January during this time. Now, what actually happens is that when all the farmers go to the market yard, what is going to happen is the middleman will start controlling the price of this of the price they will sell. Let's say they make an offer of $4 or $5 per kilogram of pepper. Now, when there's a lot of supply, what's going to happen is that there could be a scenario of a panic sale or fire sale, because farmers may not have a couple of things, right? One, they may not have the storage to store this black pepper until say March, April, or even June, until June, right? The second thing is that farmers need liquidity, which means without they are able to sell in January, they would not have enough money to invest loans or for their own working capital for the next couple of months. So these are all two scenarios which basically lead to undersell or in some cases panic sell. So who is benefiting here? People that have got capital, the middleman. What they are doing today is that non-perishables like black pepper, turmeric, cardamom, they're actually hoarding it during the harvest season. And then because these guys have access to their own storage areas like warehouses, they could actually buy at lesser price or control the price, as we can see here. They take advantage of the situation. So at the end of the day, what is going to happen is that the farmers are always at loss. They either sell at under price, $4 or $5, whereas a middleman that is holding it for say 5 to 6 months is actually able to make more money at being able to sell at $7 to $8 per kilo, which guarantees them at least 40% to 45% in profits. How this could be changed is that the proposition here is that once we have everything tagged, dried, and everything, they into this again. This is a suggestion. Typically, what we are expecting here is that the farmers need not do a panic sale, but because they need capital, using Web3 and blockchain, we can actually create real world asset tokens against the non-perishable agri-produce. In this case, what's happening is we will have a processor or aggregator that would actually buy this, black pepper and offer market price to the farmer so that they do not sell at underprice. And where do they get liquidity from? Once the tokens are minted, so there has to be some funding, and that funding actually comes from the liquidity pool. From the liquidity pool, we're actually funding the real world asset tokens. And the reason why it is suggested is that, again, same use case. If the stable coins are stuck in your custodial wallet, you are getting 0% yield. Yesterday, I spoke about getting up to 6% yield on the pre-harvest financing. But if you really want to have more stability and less risk, we would normally suggest to go for real world asset tokens, which are actually pegged against the actual asset in the warehouse. So if you look at this scenario, we have the black pepper, the gunny bags put in here so that we can monitor the temperature and moisture levels. They move to the warehouse. Now this asset is, let's say, worth about $100,000. What's happening is that we would take the money from the liquidity pool, pay to the farmers, obviously, and then tokens are actually generated. So what it means is that as a liquidity pool provider, you actually get access to real world asset tokens, liquid tokens. The two scenarios here. One, you can hold the tokens until the sale happens in, say, April or even June. So the reality in the commodity markets for non-perishables is that the more you hold, say, 4 to 6 months, there will be better price appreciation. And these are all data that is we have taken from last 20 years, how things change, right? By April and May, there are a lot of food companies that eat black pepper, pepper powder, obviously. So they need, then by the time the supply is not there, so they are now buying from the middleman who are selling at, say, 40, 50% profit. Now, what we are suggesting is that if we are putting in the warehouse, taking the capital from liquidity pool and issuing a liquid token. So if I have put in $1,000, 1,000 USDT or stable coins onto liquidity pool, I have an option to give back my liquidity pool. So think of it as Lido. So Lido, if you put in your Ether, you actually get your liquid Lido tokens, liquid Ether tokens. So you can always give back your liquid tokens and get back Ether. So if Ethereum has gone up, you're always going to get a profit. Here, what we are doing is that we are having real world tokens against asset called as black pepper in this case. Once it's available, by March, it may go up. If you wait until June, it can actually go up to $7 or more. So it's all about holding it for 4 to 6 months. Once you're able to do that, as you can see here, it's always backed by the asset. So you have a tokens here. So the moment you have a real world asset liquid tokens, you are sitting on an asset. So we are holding it for until May or June, which is supported by the liquidity pool. Once you have that, what's actually happening is that happens. So we're looking at physical settlement happening when the prices improve. We are selling to an agri-industry buyer. Now the tokens are still with people who are there. They will be sent a notification that this sale is happening in a couple of days. Transparently, we know we will share. The aggregator would share what is the price they're selling. So that's exactly why blockchain exists here. Once we know that, once the real world asset is sold to an agri-industry buyer, they will buy all the tokens here, and their tokens are actually bought. Which means once you sell back to the agri-industry buyer, you'll get back the money to the liquidity pool. Let's assume that you purchase at $5 per kilo from the farmer in January. In March, that's probably at $6. Real world asset token liquidity token holder, you can actually sell at $6 and then put it back in the liquidity pool, the real asset tokens pool, right? Now coming to June or July, when it's actually gone to say $7 and $6. So whoever is holding until they get maximum, right? We're talking about 10% to 12%, even 30%. It all depends that if the prices go down or they are not at a favorable price, we have to liquidate at some point of time. We cannot keep on holding because beyond 9 months or 1 year, they are going to get degraded in the warehouse. The second thing is that you will start end up paying a lot of warehouse fees, which is the storage fees. So typically what happens is that everybody can actually vote at what price it has to be sold. Let's say everybody agrees upon 12%. We can sell that 12% even in March. If everybody is okay, we are okay to take a risk and wait until June, where it may go up to 18 to 20% profit. So it's all controlled by all the people. It is totally democratic. So that way, what is going to happen is once you settle and sell, you're going to get back 12 is guaranteed because the contract can execute the moment the price goes up to 12% and it's all settled. But if there are favorable, AI can actually do a last 20 years analysis and project the pricing that's coming in. Obviously, there are risks coming in here, but if everybody agrees that we will have to hold until May or June, if we indeed hit 18% or 20% in profits, that is now fully shared back to the liquidity pool holders. Now as we're saying that we are looking at 9 to 12% APY again in liquid. So this is the biggest use case with real world asset tokenization of stable coins. Today, there's a lot of evangelization that happens to stake stable coins against real estate because it's tangible asset. Similarly, what we are telling now is that whatever is in the warehouse is also a tangible asset, and it's more liquid, right, as compared to real estate building. We are waiting for the entire sale or somebody trading the tokens there. But with real world asset tokenization of non-perishable agricultural produce, we are sure that we can hit a liquidity in 6 months or maximum 9 months. When it's liquidity, at some point of time, we have to sell the produce to an agri-industry buyer, as explained here. And the agri-industry buyer will pay back and buy back the tokens or will liquidity pool. We can look at the dynamics. At the end of the day, liquidity happens, it gets back. We are also holding. Is that if you're getting 0% yield stable coins in your custodial wallet, we tried for 6%, which does come with some risk, but is covered by the crop insurance. Post harvest financing, there is less